What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. We're actually just loading into round 2 for Game 1. I accidentally created an all-pick server by accident. Now we're moving back into Captain's mode. And so we've got 2IP playing their first game up against TYK. My apologies. Not actually too used to creating the lobby for games. And so just moving in, the Captain Yoda. Over for TYK, up against TYK's Cuckoo Pang, who will be their captain. TYK leading with first pick and first ban. And so it'll be interesting to see who they choose to ban out. We have seen a lot of Clockwork, Timbersaw, Slark, and Invoker. They seem to be the most consistent first and second ban so far, as well as Ember Spirit. So Slark first ban, pretty standard ban. Hero that you don't really want to play against just because of how annoying he is. You have to burst him down before he gets his Shadow Dance off, as that gives him 5.5 seconds to regenerate back all his HP, as well as the fact that he's completely untargetable due to the fact that he's invisible and cannot be seen by any form of vision. This is compounded, of course, by the fact that he also has Dark Pact to purge off any CC. So Clockwork is the first ban from 2IP. Pretty standard ban. Clockwork, very annoying offlane hero in a 1v1, 1v2, or 1v3 situation. The fact that he has 5-second cog duration at level 1 makes him really difficult to gank against, especially if you have melee supports in the tri-lane, such as a Sand King or an Earthshaker, or melee carry such as a Lifestealer. Unless you have someone like an Anti-Mage who has that blink to jump inside the cogs, difficult to be able to engage on him. One of the reasons why he's so difficult to deal with, and once he hits level 6 with a maxed out Battery Assault, he could pick off any hero that's isolated on their own, give us a great amount of teamfight as well as ganking presence just with levels alone, doesn't really need all too many items, just with boots in the bottle can wreak havoc on your team if he's played effectively. TYK deliberating, dipping to their reserve time for their second ban, Ember Spirit. Once again, very standard ban, extremely strong hero with a massive amount of mobility as well as burst damage coming out. Sort of like the bastard child between Juggernaut and Storm Spirit. Has Storm Spirit's mobility and ganking presence with Juggernaut's burst damage. Invoker is the second ban, once again pretty standard, so TYK, they get first pick. So the pretty standard bans coming out from both sides with Ember Spirit as well as Slark and Invoker and Clockwork being banned down. Invoker with the recent buffs to Quas Wex has made him incredibly powerful, as Ghostwalk actually gives you movement speed as well as snaring all those around you, and the fact that EMP's mana burn has gone up from 400 to 550. I'm actually just going to log into Steam right now, just so I can't get messaged by any players. And so Naga Siren is the first pickup from TYK. Most likely could be a farming mid Naga Siren or in the tri-lane. We did see, I believe it was a Slytherin squad that went for a tri-lane Naga Siren in yesterday's series, but they didn't really execute it too well, as once she got her Radiance, she wasn't able to split push enough. They kept being dragged into fights, and a Song of the Siren didn't really combo all too well with the rest of the team, as the opposing team simply picked up BKBs on their cores and were able to fight through it. 2IP deliberating on their first and second pick. Naga Siren's an excellent first pick because she's a very flexible hero. You can send her mid, you can send her into the tri-lane situation, either as the farmer or as the support. So depending on how flexible the players on TYK are, they haven't given away all too much of their draft, so 2IPs is considering what possible role that Naga Siren could be playing. So they want to know whether she'll be playing the mid lane, as with her 6-base armor, she's very difficult to bully out of lane just with right clicks. And the fact that she can spam that Riptide to be able to get CS as well as harass back the enemy mid, use her mirror image illusions to scout out runes and even deny them if need be. Visage is the first pick coming out from 2IP, king of the tri-lane. Huge amount of offensive power coming out, that Grave Shield to help set up another support hero's abilities, as well as that Soul Assumption to provide that quick burst of magical damage. So 2IP's already picked up one of their 3 heroes in that tri-lane, and they're giving away the fact that they want to go for an aggressive tri-lane and clash 3v3. The drawbacks with the Visage is the fact that he can roam, but he needs another hero in order to roam. Just because he doesn't have any CC on his own, he's very squishy with 0 base armor and 15% magic resistance. He will drop the instant you target him. But his biggest strength is that when you play Visage aggressively with a well-coordinated tri-lane, you force the enemy team to always be in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you focus the Visage, the other 2 heroes in the tri-lane will be able to run around uncontested and continue to hit you. If you don't focus the Visage, he will be able to hang around the background, throw out that Soul Assumption, throw out that Grave Chill, create a huge pain in the ass for the other members of the tri-lane. Mirana picked up in synergy with the Visage, once again another very strong hero. Can operate in a 1v3 situation in the offlane with the creep equilibrium shift as well as her leap. She's very difficult to gank. And the tri-lane situation can either operate as a supporting hero, working in conjunction with the Visage with that Grave Chill to help set up that arrow, or she can even serve as the farmer. So once Visage and another support hero, say something like a Crystal Maiden or a Sand King, hang around with the Visage. They can provide that burst damage. So we got second pick Undying. Undying hasn't been picked all too much recently in the last few patches, and that's just because of the fact that after the 20 minutes have passed, his teamfight presence drops dramatically, as most heroes have enough damage to be able to kill off the Tombstone before it could summon too many zombies, and the fact that they could tank the zombies before they go into Deathlust. So third and fourth ban coming out from TYK. Rubik as well as the Centaur Warrunner, both excellent bans. Centaur Warrunner is such a strong offlane hero, as once he gets a quick level 6, he provides a huge amount of ganking presence for the rest of your team with that global ability, especially in conjunction with Mirana. She drops her Moonlight Shadow, he drops Stampede. You now have every hero on the opposing team that's invisible and moving at max movement speed with an inbuilt snare.
5 seconds remaining.
Huge amount of burst damage potential coming out from Centaur Warrunner, as he can Stampede, run up to you to get that snare, land that hoof stomp, and follow up the double edge. Very difficult to bully out of lane, as if your supports rotate out, he could just run up to your carry and keep spamming double edge until he dies or backs away. Rubik is a good support hero in conjunction with the Visage, as while Rubik is usually a defensive hero, the sheer amount of offensive power coming out from Visage's Soul Assumption and Grave Chill means that picking up a defensive support hero like the Rubik is justifiable, especially with the fact that you have that telekinesis, so you have a form of hard CC to help set up that arrow. You could lift him, throw him back into arrow, with the Grave Chill to help set for follow-up damage and the Soul Assumption. Doom and Ancient Apparition being banned out by 2IP. Ancient Apparition, the other king of the undisputed king of the tri-lane, as with that chilling touch, he's able to provide an overpowering amount of magical damage, as 50 damage at level 1 for the first 3 hits, so if you have a triple range tri-lane, the damage adds up very quickly, as well as the fact that once he gets level 6, his Ice Blast shuts down all forms of regeneration for 9, 10, 11 seconds, depending on what level it is, and once you pick up an Aghanim Scepter, it goes up to 17, so during that time you cannot regenerate any form of HP at all, shuts down mech, shuts down wand, bottle, absolutely everything. Doombringer banned out just because of the fact that his ultimate counters everything, and like Nature's Prophet, he's able to generate a huge farm and gold lead advantage through his abilities with that Devourer. So he's able to use that to get ahead, pick up a first Midas and stay ahead. And so we see that they've gone for a Chen pickup, which is interesting considering Chen is the defensive jungling equivalent of Enchantress. Enchantress provides a lot more early ganking power, as Enchant enables you to control more than one creep at early levels in the game, whereas Chen needs a few more levels before he starts to control more creeps. Chen is usually played more as a farming, defensive jungling hero. You want to get a 7-8 minute mech up on Chen, get an army of creeps, and then start tower pushing, whereas with the Enchantress you have a lot more diving and ganking potential, as it doesn't matter if the creep dives, you can use it to dive towers, tank tower hits, generate ruckus, and once you get level 6 with that Impetus, deal so much damage. So Death Prophet picked up from TYK, so will be a support or a tri-lane Naga Siren, with Death Prophet over in the mid lane, as you can't operate in any other lane. So far we have a jungling Chen with a Visage and a Mirana, so it could actually be a dual lane coming out from 2IP. Chaos Knight picked up, so it could be an offlane Mirana, Chaos Knight with the Visage, and Chen in the jungle. So all they have to do now is pick up their mid hero, unless they want to pick up another offlane and have Mirana rotate mid. Over for TYK, it most likely looks like a Naga Siren and Undying in the tri-lane with Death Prophet in mid, so they haven't picked up their offlaner yet. Undying is a possible offlaner with the fact that with Decay, if you hit 3 heroes, you're getting 12 strength from them. It gives you about 200 HP extra. It makes it very difficult to dive you just because you could tank up. And if you choose to get a few early points up in that Decay, you could spam it out. It has a really low cooldown. So long as you can sustain the mana cost, makes you very difficult to bring down. And if they should choose to dive you, if you drop a Tombstone at tower range, not only are they eating tower shots, they're eating Deathlusted zombies. So it means if you do go down, you'll be able to take at least 1 or 2 down with you. Could be a potential option they're going for. However, against the huge amount of magical damage coming out from the Radiance from 2IP, especially in the on the off chance that Mirana decides to roam, so you could have the combination coming out with Visage to follow up the Grave Shield, give CK that range to run up, throw out that Chaos Bolt, follow up with the arrow into Starstorm, can kill Undying before he could actually react. So as an offlane hero, it could be interesting. They haven't picked up an official offlaner yet, so that's only speculation so far. Dipping a bit into the reserve time. Just going to talk quickly about the Chaos Knight pickup. One of the reasons why he has tapered off as a carry is similar to a Lifestealer, similar to a Viper. He's a carry that relies on maintaining 1 item advantage over the opposing carry, but he makes up for that deficit with the fact that he has such an amazingly powerful early game. Chaos Bolt is a 2 to 4 second stun, 1 to 4 seconds at level 1, so if you do get lucky with the stun bolt, you can lock people in place and get an early first blood, with the recent patch actually changing his Chaos Bolt to be inversely related to the stun. So if you get a 1 second stun, it's 200 damage, whereas if you get a 200 damage stun, you'll get the full duration. Dipping into almost all their reserve time for TYK, only 1 second left, they pick up the Nyx Assassin, so most likely he will be the offlaner. Nyx Assassin, very strong offlane hero, with that Spike Carapace and that Impale. being able to lock down 2, if not 3 heroes in the tri lane makes it very difficult to dive on him, as well as the fact that he has 3.2 base HP regeneration per second. Once he picks up something like a stout shield or a poor man's shield, very difficult to bully out of lane with right clicks alone. All he has to do is leech the XP until he hits level 6, and then create space for the rest of his team with that Vendetta to help set up ganks. One of the things you have to know with Chaos Knight is a Reality Rift has a range of about 600, Chaos Bolt has a range of 500, so you want to use Reality Rift to set up the Chaos Bolt. A lot of CK players tend to screw that up by trying to go into Chaos Bolt, running up, wasting a lot of time trying to chase down their opponent to get into range, and then once they throw out the Chaos Bolt, either other support heroes have rotated or they move too far back towards the tower. 5th ban for the Crystal Maiden. Bit of an interesting ban. It does make sense with that Arcane Aura helping out Naga Siren, Undying, and Death Prophet especially, as all 3 of them like to spam out their spells. Undying wants to spam out Decayed, Naga Siren wants to spam out the Riptide, and Death Prophet wants to throw out those Crypt Swarms. So it looks like Juggernaut will be going mid up against Death Prophet. Juggernaut picked up, so support Naga Siren in conjunction with the Undying, with the Juggernaut and the aggressive tri-lane, Nyx Assassin as their off-lane hero. And over for 2IP, looks like Mirana will be going as their offlaner, Dragon Knight will be mid, dual lane with Visage and Chaos Knight, turning into a pseudo tri-lane with Chen hanging around, played by Yoda. And so we're just waiting for the last player for TYK to choose his heroes. Just going to quickly introduce the players from both sides. We got Mickey Mouse, the carry player for TYK, up on that Juggernaut. Golfy, the offlaner, playing that Nyx Assassin. Kuka playing the captain and mid player, playing that Death Prophet. Pandy, the support player, also plays a fantastic Pandarian Brewmaster, playing that Undying, and Valerie, the 5th player, playing that support Naga Siren. Yeah, she's going for support items. Bit interesting to note that she has gone for Magic Wand at level 1, too easy. Offlane player for 2IP, playing that offlane Mirana. We see she has a safety ward as well as that first point up and leap, so she's going to be playing very defensively. Wolfcant over in Dragon Knight. Good to note that he's gone for the traditional mid DK build, choosing to go for level 1 up and Fire Breath. Going to use that to spam it out, get a few CS, get that bottle crow going, and use your Fire Breath to control the lane. He's been pulled 3 tangos, so he's going for that bottle rush build. Saladmi over on the Chaos Knight, he'll be the safe lane farmer for 2IP. Yoda, their captain, and their Chen player, off in the jungle. He's going to be picking up the support items for the team. We see he's already starting off with the Sentry Ward, so he wants to deny any safety wards coming out from TYK. Excellent play coming out from Yoda, as the offlane hero, without a safety ward, is highly vulnerable to ganks and rotations, and it also frees up space for the rest of your support heroes to be able to rotate. And Mule playing that Visage, going for a pretty bare bones build so far. He's the one that's been pulling some of the tangos and buying the support items, as well as with that Chen. One of the advantages of having Chen as a jungler is the fact that he actually needs no items at all to be in the jungle. Picked up Invisibility Rune from the Visage. I don't think that was scouted out. It could have been seen out by the Nyx Assassin. But Visage at level 1 with only Grave Shield or the Soul Assumption isn't too strong a ganking presence on his own. It could perhaps turn into a gank attempt with the DK. I mean, he could at least throw out the Grave Shield to help set up some harass. Looks like he's going to be harassing back Golfy. Throws out that level 1 Grave Shield. They're just going to right click him down. Nyx Assassin, starting without a Stout Shield, unable to get a safety ward off, is actually taking a lot of damage, and it looks like a dual lane coming out from TYK, with Pandy over and dying, as well as the Nyx Assassin hanging around. I'm not too sure how effective this is. I guess the rationale behind it is the fact they know that it will be a dual lane bottom, as it can't be a complete tri-lane with the Chen jungling, and so they can be safe going 2-1-2, as well as the fact that since Undying's hanging around the front, he knows that if he gets initiated on, not only will he have a few stacks of decay up, so he'll be tougher to bring down, but Nyx Assassin can instantly rotate in, throw out that Impale, buy him space so he can run back. They're confident in Undying being tanky enough not to go down, so it looks like he'll be the farmer in this lane. So he's going to be hanging around. Look, we already see him throwing out some decays over in Visage. Very clever play coming up from us, as Visage is incredibly squishy, and with those 2 decays, we see his HP has dropped to 454. He doesn't want to go for any engagements now, as well as the fact that decay is a great way to control melee heroes, especially melee strength heroes, over on the opposing team. As we see Chaos Knight, he loses base damage. He's taking a lot of damage right now. He's actually a bit too far forward. Visage is moving in to provide a bit of support, but Pandy getting a lot of free harassment up on him. Chaos Knight doesn't need to start with a Stout Shield, as he knows he's going to be up against melee heroes. Mickey Mouse as well as Naga Siren. This is an interesting dual lane, as you have the net coming out from Naga Siren to hold Mirana in place, while Juggernaut comes in with the spin. But with that leap, Mirana actually can disjoint the instant. Leap actually gives you 0.1 second of Windwalk. That's the way it was coded in Dota 1, and so it actually counts as a disjoint if you do time it perfectly. We see Juggernaut, he's already off to a great start. Mickey Mouse leading the scoreboards at 9 for 6, starting with the Quelling Shield, as well as Stealth Shield, as well as a Quelling Blade, so he's going to get as much CS as possible, opting for that early point in stats just to give him enough enough of a mana pool so that at level 6 he could use both Blade Spin as well as follow up with the immediate ultimate. We see a smoke rotation coming in from Yoda. He's got a satire though, so he only has that blast coming out from him. I don't think DK will get in range to be able to throw out the Dragon Tail, but Kuka Peng, if he does play a bit too aggressive, could end up eating that to the face. Chen is still hanging around, playing very patiently. He's got the smoke up. Illusion Root Pop by the DK. Over in the middle lane, looks like Death Prophet is actually being beaten by the Dragon Knight. That's the power of Dragon Knight's Fire Breath spam. So one of the reasons why in Dota 1 he used to be picked up by in the Southeast Asian scene, particularly by Pinoy's over the middle lane. Used to be first spam material just because of the fact that they would have his courier specifically for the mid lane, just so they could bottle crow and ensure he could constantly throw out those Fire Breaths. Golfrey goes into Planet Ward, but is immediately pinged out, so the supports over on the Radiant side know what's up. They're going to move over and immediately deward that. Nyx Assassin's a bit... he's not going to be too happy. He's eating a lot of damage to the face. Bit surprising Nyx Assassin didn't choose to start with a Stout Shields. That would have completely mitigated all the harassment happening. Smoke break, so... unfortunate lack of a gank attempt on the middle lane. Yoda did his best, but with the wrong creep, if he had perhaps a Centaur, or if he had a Troll, would have actually been superior. Or hell, if he even chose to steal a Harpy, he could send that Harpy, micro it up, use it to drive back the Death Prophet. She's going to be having an absolute ball of a time up against a melee hero. All she has to do is throw out that Crypt Swarm from time to time to get CS. We see she's actually opted to go for a Pointless Silence. Very revealing choice, as it means that she is a little bit afraid of the DK, as ideally you want to actually completely forego points in the silence or get... and in exchange for more points up in that Witchcraft, does not only does it give you more movement speed, it decreases the cooldown and mana cost for your Crypt Swarm, making it easy to spam, and gives you more Exorcism Spirits. We see she's actually got a Clarity, so she's popping it. Starting with that Magic Wand actually proved to be quite an intelligent pickup against that Dragon Knight, as he's already been spamming out Breathe Fire 6 times. It gives her 98 extra HP and mana regeneration that you can pop on demand. Over in the bottom lane, we see Pandy is playing very defensively. Phase Boot's already picked up by Juggernaut. He's hanging around. Naga Siren has started to rotate because she knows that the Juggernaut should be fine on her own. Actually ran all the way back, so could have been taking a bit of harassment. Choosing to max out the Ensnare over the Riptide, which is a bit interesting, as usually you see Naga support players max out the Riptide, but I guess in this case she's confident in the DPS coming out from Blade Spin, that she just wants that extra lockdown. Mirana is a good pickup against Naga Siren though, as even... oh, looks like we've got a gank attempt in the middle lane. Immediate TP rotation coming in. That looks like the Naga Siren Soul Assumption, as well as the double damage coming out from Mule. A lot of damage happening to him, but he actually goes down with one last right click. DK dives, lands that Dragon Tail, gets one last hit in as well, so they trade 2 for 1 with their dive actually completely failing, with Visage feeding away First Blood to the Death Prophet right before she dies, and then Dragon Knight getting a kill before dying to Valerie. Great play coming out from the Dire side, immediately rotating over the instant they saw that gank attempt happening. You see the huge nerf to Visage there, even though he had a double damage rune, the fact that he tanked a few tower hits, as well as that Crypt Swarm, having 0 armor and 15% magic resistance, meant that he popped very quickly. That's one of the disadvantages of Visage, is you do need another support hero just to be able to tank tower shots, just to be able to provide you that extra form of DPS. On your own, roaming as a Visage, he doesn't offer all too much, just because he can be that's because he can be turned around and killed. That low damage. We see Chaos Knight. Juggernaut actually forced to pop Blade Spin, so it looks like most likely was doing that to disjoint either the Starstorm or the Arrow. Looks like both flew out, so he might have been hit by the Arrow. Immediately popped the Blade Spin to disjoint the Starstorm and to back it away. So Ladme having a pretty good start. We see he's already chosen to go for a... he's actually choosing to skill up his crit over Reality Rift. I'm actually not too sure what the rationale for that is. Chaos Knight's crit is one of the worst ones in the game just because it has such a low chance of happening. Juggernaut has the second best crit in the game just because it has such a high chance of happening, and it's a guaranteed 2x crit. So in terms of DPS, it's beaten only by Phantom Assassin's coup de grace. Usually you do want to max out Reality Rift, as it decreases the cooldown and increases damage in the first hit, which actually propagates over to your Phantasm Illusions, so they all get that plus 100 hit at level 4 with the Reality Rift. Really increases the amount of DPS you output. So interesting to see that he's chosen to go for more points up in his crit instead of up in his Reality Rift. Would like to see him max out his Chaos Bolt, as that's the majority of his ganking presence. You want to make sure you get 4 points up in it, just to ensure that it goes from a 1 to 4 second window to a 2 to 4. Mule actually hiding, not going to be spotted out by the Naga Siren. Actually gets scouted out right now. Reality Rift over in Pandy. We have a net. Mule is caught out of position. He's caught out with the Ensnare. Throws out the Soul Assumption, was saved by the Soul Rip coming out from Dirge. Dirge actually caught out with the Dragon Tail. Saladmi, he looks like he's going to get a kill. The Satar throws out the Blast. Zombies have been spawned Salami's actually held in place. He's going to be careful of the zombies coming up from Dirge. Wolfcunt gets a kill with that last right click with the range damage. Arrow flies out, misses, but Valerie's taking a lot of damage with that Dragon Tail. We've got Kuka Pang finally rotating in, throws out a Crypt Swarm on easy. Entire team rotating from the Radiant side. They get a chain 1-for-1, Visage for the Dirge. They're happy with that rotation, but the fact that they had to move every member of their team over in order to accomplish it, as well as drop that Dragon Knight ult, could prove to be a bit of a drawback, as Juggernaut's free farming the top lane, completely untested. During this, he's level 7 now, so he has spin, he has ult. With the extra point up in stats, he's got enough money to do both at once. Would like to see him start to level up his healing ward now, and we've actually got a mass disconnect coming out from every member of TYK. I'm not too sure what's happening here. Could be that they're in the same flat and their internet just cut out. I do know that yesterday the entire internet for Orcon cut out for a lot of flats. Not too sure what's happening. Looks like they're all starting to reconnect now. Good recognition coming out from TYK, immediately pausing the game, recognizing that their opponent has completely disconnected. So we're good to go. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check in terms of EXP. 1,000 in favor of TYK. That's purely due to the fact that they're getting more solo EXP, while the Radiant side are clumping up more. And in terms of gold, 1,000 gold lead. That's due once again to efficiency and last hits, as well as the fact that they have 1 kill lead, getting that first blood in the middle lane, with Death Prophet getting a kill before she died, so she gets the EXP for that kill. Huka Peng hanging around. He has Exorcism up. Dragon Knight jumping back in, but he's lost his EDF form. Phase Boots coming out from DP, so she's going for the aggressive chasing build. Aggressive ward plant by the next assassin. They're going to spot out too easy, hanging around the side. She wants to get an arrow off. She's actually moving too far forward. Did she disconnect? Yeah, we've got mass disconnections from both players on the side. I'm actually going to pause the game and wait for them to reconnect. Never mind, I actually can't pause the game, so I'm not too sure what's happening. Perhaps the Dota 2 network might be going down, but we've got disconnect coming up from both players. It could possibly be a remake happening. I'm not too sure about the rules for this, but hopefully one of the players should be reconnecting back in. Just going to double check to see if the Dota 2 network is up, in case, never mind. Yeah, we've got Mirana reconnecting back in. So it looks like the Dota 2 network is starting to screw around. Yeah, both players are reconnecting back in.
It has no arms to defend itself. Yes, prophet.
Just gonna let them know they couldn't pause the game. Alrighty, so both players have reconnected. And I guess we're just gonna resume. The server might be having a few issues today. Hopefully, we shouldn't be seeing more of this. So just the players from both sides communicating on what could happen, what the plan should be on the off chance that it continues to disconnect like this. Looks like we're good to go. Just gonna do a quick item check for both teams. Chen just sitting at boots as well as Ring of Basilius. Hasn't been accomplishing all too much. Would like to see that fast mech up on him. He has been going for ganks, but his ganks haven't been all too fruitful. Mirana with boots as well as the Ring of Basilius, going for that Ring of Aquila most likely. Has chosen to go for a second point up in Arrow instead of maxing out that Starstorm. In terms of mana efficiency, Arrow does do superior DPS to a single target, as it can go up to 460 damage at level 4 if you land a 3000 range arrow. However, in terms of reliable damage and AoE damage, Starstorm is always superior, especially with the fact you have to double Starstorm proc. We have 4 members from the Dire side hanging around the bottom lane. They're out for blood once again. They want to kill off that CK, shut down his early snowballing lead. He's choosing to max out crit over his other 2 abilities. That could prove to be a huge factor,
Dire's middle tower is under
as
attack.
Chaos Knight relies on being able to get
No
those
arms to
early
defend
ganks off, those early kills, and start to snowball from there by shutting down the other carry, because he comes online a lot faster than they do. The fact he's choosing to max out crit suggests he's going for more of a late game build, which might not work out for them, as relying on the crit on the RNG gods of Dota is never an effective strategy. We've got Golfy rotating to the middle lane. He wants to get a bit more EXP so he can get that Vendetta. Sitting at level 4. We've got 3 heroes on the bottom lane. Looks like a dive is happening. Yoda is called out with the ensnare. Tombstone's been dropped. Dirge drops his ultimate with that flesh golem. Valerie really rips in but is silenced. Elder Dragon form is dropped as well as the Mirana ultimate. Valerie's going to go down. The one last right click from that Dragon Knight, but they're fighting within the Tombstone, so keep in mind the Tombstones are still alive. They actually kill off Visage during all this. Huka Pan goes down. Dirge is hanging around. Pandy, he still wants to get one more kill. Tombstones drop, so he no longer has zombie support. He decides to wisely back on out. They trade 2 for 2. The 5 position Naga Siren as well as their mid. So mid and support for both sides would have to hand the advantage over the TYK as they already have that gold and EXP lead, and you see that happening once again. Dirge picking up the arcane boots. He's gone for 2 points up in soul rip. This is one of the old school builds for Dirge, is having 2 points up, increases the heal as well as decreasing the cooldown. Golfy, I think he just popped his Vendetta. No, he just picked an invisibility rune. He's only level 5. We've got a rotation coming back in from Kuka Pang. Here, he dropped Exorcism for that fight, was able to clean up the Visage along with the zombies. Good to note that Dirge is choosing to max out Tombstone, as it's the strongest in the early stages of the game. Decay is also another viable ability to max out. Usually we see a lot of Dirge players only opting for 1 point Soul Rip, choosing to max out Decay secondary, with that 1 point just as that clutch heal. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, they have been doing a bit of pressure, with Yoda hanging around, right click it down, and Wolfcant is called out by the ensnare. No follow-up though, so Valerie just wanted to say hello, lock him in place. Still choosing to max out that ensnare over the Riptide, has a point up in her ultimate now, so she can use it to provide covering fire for the rest of her team, by ensuring that they could all TP out. Visage has hit level 6, so he has his Familiars up, significantly increases his ganking and teamfight potential, as the Familiars do actually do a surprising amount of physical DPS, and the rock drop from them is an extra 100 damage. It is often underestimated by players how much damage the birds actually can do, especially with Grave Drill to hold them in place, and with Medallion and Courage. It's a pretty standard pickup over in the Visage. So Death Prophet hanging around with the Phase Boots as well as a bottle. She most likely will be going for that Yule Scepter. It's the classic build for Death Prophet. Offers her everything she really needs. More movement speed, more mana regeneration, and a bigger mana pool. Familiar scouted out by Naga Siren. She turns around, slashes one, and then backs off. TYK Pandy, I think he'll be the most likely one to go for that mechanism, as Dirge is a hero that needs to get in the thick of things, and he needs that extra HP. Song of the Siren drop to initiate on 2. Tombstone's been dropped. It's a great combination coming out with the Naga Siren as well as the Dirge Tombstones. Kuka Peng hanging around. He drops her Exorcism. Wolfcant is immediately silenced, but he's in EDF form, called out with the spirits as well as the zombies in that ensnare. He goes down immediately. Yoda ran back in, goes down. Not too sure why he was too far forward there. Too easy, leaps out immediately. Kuka Peng taking a lot of damage. 4-second Chaos Ball dropped on Pandy. Valerie's running up. She's got another ensnare. Throws it out on 2 Easy. Easy eats the impale to the face. Pandy's hanging around in Flesh Golem form to provide a damage amplification. Turnaround Soul Rip as well as that Reality Rift. He's really regretting not having the extra points, but does kill him off with the Chaos Bolt. Visage goes down to the Exorcism Spirits in the meantime. Pandy's chasing down Saladni. Saladni is running for his life. He doesn't have a tower, so there's no hope of rotations coming in to help him out. Dire side, 3 players are chasing them down. Visage Familiars are hanging around to try to provide the drop, but that's all they can really do. So Saladni with no mana is running away. Actually misses the impale from Nyx Assassin, so he could be fine. Eats this offensive Soul Rip, doesn't do all too much damage. While that's happening in the top lane, Juggernaut's split pushing in the top. Just right-clicking the tower down. We've got rotations coming in now with Mirana. She's going to throw out that arrow. Provide a bit more covering fire in case they continue to chase her. Arrow flies out, misses everybody, almost hits Pandy in the face. Kuka Peng farming at the Visage Familiars. They juke her out, so they should be fine. And Nyx Assassin immediately pops his Vendetta. Yoda wisely backs away. He saw that the players from the Dire side were rotating over. Great fight coming up from TYK. Juggernaut, Mickey Mouse gets a free tower. Blade spins out, immediately prevent that Dragon Tail coming up from Wolfcant. Arcane Boots picked up on the Naga Siren, so that gives her another way to be able to spam out her abilities. Choosing to go for a 2nd point in Dragon Tail instead of a 3rd point in Dragon's Blood. I really don't agree with this pickup with that skill build, as Dragon's Tail is one of the worst scaling abilities in the game. The damage only goes up by 25 per level, and the stun duration only goes up by 0.25. You do want to max up that Dragon's Blood, as it gives you 3 extra points of armor with every level, as well as a bit more regeneration. The extra points in armor having 15 armor in that case instead of 12 meant that you can tank a lot more physical DPS coming out from the Exorcism Spirits, as well as negating the effectiveness of Riptide, as it does reduce armor. And Snap thrown out on the Visage Familiars, but they don't give a damn. Moonlight Shadow dropped. Tombstone has been dropped. Arrow flies out, misses everybody, almost hits the Nyx Assassin. He popped Carapace preemptively. Valerie's hanging around the front line. 2 Easy runs in, throws out the Starstorm just to drive them back. Exorcism dropped by Kuka Peng. Wolfgun's invisible, runs in, initiates in Kuka Peng. She eats a penitence to the face. She might actually go down. Never mind, Soul Rip comes out. Pandy's up front with his Flesh Golem damage amplification. Dragon Knight drops immediately. Mule's hanging around, but he's eating a lot of damage from the zombies. Pandy is chasing him down. Looks like he's going to feed a kill over to the Dirge zombies. Is caught up by the Crypt Swarm. 2 Easy, forced to leap out. Eats an aggressive Soul Rip to the face. And with the Exorcism Spirits up, there's no way they can fight against this. Once Death Prophet drops her ult, you run like hell. She's in her PMS mode then. That's that time of the game where you do not want to fight her. You just want to run the hell away, wait for her ultimate to wear off, and then go in for a kill. That's one of the reasons why Death Prophet used to not be picked up so much, is the fact that when her ult dropped, the other team could just bait out the ult and then run the hell away, wait for her ult to wear off, and then fight her when her ultimate was down. She's gone for that early point booster. Could be just an efficiency thing, as point booster does provide a lot of stacks. Or she could be going for an early Bloodstone. We see her running into Roshan, so yeah, it looks like she's going to be going for that soul booster. Juggernaut, in the meanwhile, is able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter with that level 2 ult. That's 9 slashes coming out from him. Huge amount of ganking presence coming out, as it also decreases the cooldown to 70 seconds. The thing with Juggernaut, especially as a carry, is when your ultimate is up, you want to fight, you want to push, as they can't fight you with your ultimate up. When your ultimate's down, that's when you want to farm, because you have that blade spin to ensure that you can always get out of gank attempts. C has gone for just 1 point up in that healing wall just to help sustain pushes, choosing to max out his crit instead. Usually would prefer to see healing ward maxed out, but he hasn't really been clashing all too much, and that 1 point in the ward has been sufficient to enable him to push. He's been having an absolute ball of a time over in the top lane. In terms of net worth, we see the 3 core heroes from the Dire side leading the scoreboard, so Dirge acting as a pseudo core as he wants to pick up. Looks like he's going for a Hood of Defiance and building into that pipe. Would like to see a Mechanism picked up. Naga Siren most likely will be picking that up then. She's got 1.6k. Could also be seeing a Blink Dagger picked up by Naga Siren, as it gives her the ability to jump with those tactical songs, as well as the fact that it gives her more initiation range with that ensnare, so it adds an extra 1100 range to her initiation. Can prove to be critical if she catches the hero out of position. Over in the top lane, we see Wolfcant in EDF form, pushing down the tier 1 tower. He's immediately TPing back. He wants to defend that mid. He knows that he can't outpush an Exorcism Death Prophet, so he's going to be playing very defensively. Death Prophet choosing to go for the Bloodstone. Very greedy build from her, but with that early lead, Pandy actually eats an arrow to the face, but isn't long enough to do any significant damage. Song of the Siren drop. Pandy drops his tombstone. That means that they can start every fight with at least 2 or 3 zombies on all the heroes that are called out. Great combination coming up from them. 2-man Impale, catches out Wolfcant and Easy, goes down to a Crypt Swarm. Crypt Swarm unfortunately only catches 1. Pandy goes down to damage from Chen with that Penitence, as well as the pure damage nuke. Visage Familiars are hanging around doing damage in the meanwhile. Saladni in the thick of it, tanking a lot of damage from the zombies. Valerie might go down, never mind. He's able to tank it with that base armor. That's a 4 for 1 without a mech. Chen was able to drop his hand to God to provide a bit more healing, but just wasn't enough. That sheer amount of damage coming out from Kukar Peng, especially as you have to keep in mind that the Exorcism Spirits, they do more damage the closer you are to them, as it means there's less travel time for them running back between the Death Prophet before they have to run back in. 4 staff picked up by Naga Siren. Great pickup against Chaos Knight, as like the Knight's Assassin, the way to counteract him is just to kite him around. So that means that once he throws out his Chaos Bolt, once he uses Reality Rift, you 4 staff whoever he jumps on. That means he has to waste the stun duration running up to them to get those hits in. Would have preferred to see a Mechanism coming out from Dirge instead of that Hood of Defiance, as a pipe is essentially an inferior mech. It provides 400 magic resistance shield, but that doesn't. It's unmitigated magic resistance. Mickey Mouse actually miscalculates his blade spin, is called out with the Dragon Tail, eats a Soul Assumption to the face, and goes down. Looks like Wolfcant's going for that greedy build of a Helm of Dominator. Really don't like that build on Dragon Knight, as he's a pretty subpar hard carry. He relies on getting the ball rolling with those early pushes, with those early tower kills, and with that solo ganking power, with the EDF buff to his Dragon Tail, making 400 range, as well as the 300 burst damage coming out from his Breathe Fire. Would have liked to see something like a early Shadow Blade coming out from Dragon Knight, as it gives him a lot of solo pickup power. In the middle lane, we see a lot of action happening. Valerie throws out an arrow, catches out Yoda, and backs away. The Familiars are there to provide covering fire. Mule has been pretty good with his Visage Familiar Micro. It has been forced to resummon them. So if you are able to kill off the Visage Familiars again, Moonlight Shadow has been dropped. It does negate a lot of his teamfight power for about 2 minutes until it's off cooldown. Pandy's in the front lines. He's actually going to eat all of this to the face. Saladnik eats the Penitence, eats the Chaos Bolt, so the Soul Assumption goes down immediately. That's starting a fight without Flesh Golem, as well as the Tombstone. Valerie runs around, is killed off by Chen with one last right click. Wolfcant wanted to get a Dragon Tail up on the Death Prophet once it was off cooldown, but it wasn't. He's choosing to max out Dragon Tail to provide a bit more lockdown for the rest of his team. Golfy hangs around, throws out an Impale just to catch up the Chaos Knight, and they immediately back off. They do have the Omni Slash from Mickey Mouse, but so long as they stick together, they should be fine. Throws out a blind reconnaissance arrow, completely misses everything but provides a bit of vision. Medallion of Courage picked up by the Visage. Would like to see Chen with that Mechanism. He's almost got it now. Once he picks up that mech with Hand on God as well as mech, they could counteract the Death Ball push coming out from TYK. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. In terms of EXP, 5,000 lead in favor of TYK. Starting to even out now with the kills he's been receiving from the Radiant side. In terms of gold, 10,000 gold lead. Armlet of Medigian just picked up by the CK, but that's a 20-minute Armlet compared to that 20-minute Bloodstone from that Death Prophet. So she's actually just able to out DPS Chaos Knight right now. He does have a maxed out Chaos Bolt and maxed out crit, but without that Reality Rift to help get him in position, you see right now he's taking so much damage from creeps. He needs to de-aggro himself so he doesn't take that much free damage. Over in the middle lane, we see 3 heroes grouped up from TYK. Mirana's just picked up her phase boots, Mechanism picked up, so they can choose to fight this. As Vendetta has been popped earlier, it's on cooldown, but you do have to keep in mind that Omni Slash is so dangerous. Chaos Knight's actually not going to be able to engage in this fight, so that's a free Tattoo Tower. He took too much damage from the creeps, he's most likely to be going for drums. Arrow flies out, and Snap thrown out, catches out the Courier, but they don't go for any kill attempts on them. Juggernaut uses that Blade Spin, gets the last on the tower and backs away. One of the things to keep in mind with Blade Spin is when you're using Blade Spin on the magic immune target, since you can't damage them, you actually will right-click them instead, so it's a great ability to use against towers. You can use your Blade Spin so you can't get stunned or locked down. Get a few right-clicks on the tower and then TP out. You can also use it against heroes like the Nikes to make yourself magic immune so he can't open wound you, or against people with a BKB on. You can use it to provide yourself magic immunity as well as get free hits in. Nyx Assassin actually chose to go for a Dagon instead of a Blink Dagger. Very interesting pickup coming out from him. I guess he wants that burst power, choosing to max out that carry pace, provide a bit more AoE lockdown for the rest of his team. Would have really liked to see the Blink Dagger from him, but I guess he's confident in the initiation power of that Naga Siren with that 1.8k range Song of the Siren, as well as the 4-staff. Never mind, 1.2k range Song of the Siren, so she's able to pop Song, 4-staff herself, and use it to catch people in a position. Dirge immediately drops his tombstone, so they're able to start the fight with 2 or 3 zombies up on all their heroes. Can prove to be quite significant, as Dirge's zombie slow is additive. Golfy eats an arrow to the face while in Vendetta form. He's going to eat that Starstorm, but Starstorm only works if you have vision of them. Turns around, gets a 2-man impale, Phantasm has been dropped, throws out the silence as well as the Dagon. Song of the Siren's dropped, just to provide Dirge's tombstone enough time to get more zombies. Exorcism has been dropped. They're going to fight. The Radiant side really need to back away right now. Mirana dies instantly to the teamfight power coming out. Omni Slash is dropped. Mule drops. Chen is running for his life. Wolfcut runs. Was caught up with the snare. He's locked in for 5 seconds. Drops a Dragon Tail. Loses all his mana to the mana burn. And triple kill coming up from Kukar Peng. While that's happening, Dire lose a middle tower, so the Radiant get a free tower from that. But 4 for none, they're more than happy to do that. That's the Wombo combo teamfight power coming up from that Naga Siren. She uses a song to set up Dirge's tombstone to provide them with 2 or 3 zombies. The additive slow, as well as the fact that Dirge's zombies gain a movement and attack speed buff when their target is below 400 HP. The Dagon, as well as the Crypt Swarm, that was hitting all 4 or 5 heroes in that fight every time she threw it out. Huge amount of AoE presence coming out from them. Looks like Dirge is still going almost as his pipe. Mickey Mouse with that healing wall, they're able to push down the tier 3 tower, and this could actually be a Rax coming out from the players over in TYK, unless the Radiant side are able to react. Penitence thrown out, Starstorm dropped, Impale catches out 3. Yoda hasn't been all too effective this game. He didn't go for an early mech. His Hand of God is nice with that mech, but it just hasn't been enough. The Dire side simply able to DPS him down. Pops a smoke right now. His early rotations mid weren't all too successful, and he wasn't able to get his farming efficiency up. That's the reason why, in a case like that, you want to pick up someone like an Enchantress who can provide a lot more early game presence at the cost of less utility and less teamfight power. As Chen still has that Hand of God, which is quite significant in these fights, has been providing that extra buffer of HP, but just has been DPS down, so you have to keep in mind, Dirge's Flesh Golem actually causes a 12% damage amplification. Kukar Peng called out, it's going to get snared up by the Chen with Penance. Called out with the Reality Rift, where's that Chaos Bolt? Grave Chill as well as Chaos Bolt, eats a Soul Assumption to the face. Kukar Peng goes down, feeding Visage 1,000 gold. Great kill coming out from 2 IP. But with all those Bloodstone charges, Death Prophet is already back. She had like 3-second respawn timer. She's got 8 charges, almost has her BKB. Once she has her BKB, she'll be completely untouchable, as the only form of physical DPS is that Chaos Knight, and Chaos Knight doesn't want to get all too close to her, as when Exorcism's up, the Exorcism Spirits will target whoever you right-click. So if Death Prophet right-clicks CK once, and if CK goes in the melee range, he's going to be eating so much physical DPS from those Spirits. They hit for about 56 to 58 physical per hit. And since I have to fly back before they come out and hit you again, if you're at melee range, you're obviously eating a lot more spirit hits, as the spirits have less travel time between you and the target. Looks like he's going for a BKB, starting to go with that Ogre Club. Great pickup for Chaos Knight. One of the things to keep in mind with Chaos Knight is the majority of his DPS comes from the fact that he has Phantasm, which effectively increases his damage output by 300%, as each of his illusions do full amount of damage. So in that case, Chaos Knight is one of those rare carries where you actually get more damage by building strength and survivability. Harder Tarask is actually one of the best DPS pickups on Chaos Knight for that very reason, as not only does it make your illusions tankier, the fact they have more HP and more raw stats means they hit harder, and as they inherit your crit, They actually can do quite a substantial amount of damage. This is one of the reasons why Chaos Knight is a very strong carry, but he does need a lot more items right now. He can't go toe-to-toe against Juggernaut. Juggernaut can throw out his Omni Slash and laugh at his face. He's got that Blade Spin to kill off his illusions quickly, and he's almost got his Desolator, so he'll be providing that much more physical DPS in these fights. Omni Slash is off cooldown, Exorcism's off cooldown, TYK is executing their draft perfectly. Every single time their ultimate's off cooldowns, are saying, we're going to push, we have a Death Ball lineup, so we're going to Death Ball while we can, because the power of Dirge is starting to fade out. He's got that Pipe of Insight picked up, but they really do need a mech just to provide that extra amount of survivability. As one of the things with Pipe is you have to pop it before you get nuked, unlike mech, you can pop it at any time. Pipe, you have to be proactive, whereas mech is a reactive item. Wildkin hanging around the background, providing that Storm Spirit, just to do a bit of damage with that Tornado. Top Tower goes down for free, so the dire side weren't able to defend that or to deny it, giving the Radiant a much needed influx of gold. In terms of gold lead, they still have 12k in advance. And in terms of EXP, which is more critical in this case, 7.5. One of the reasons why Naga Siren is such an effective support hero, she scales so well into the game, and she could actually wind up being a secondary source of DPS. Could be going for something like Heaven's Halberd. Moonlight Shadow drop by Mirana, but Sentry Ward immediately drop on the dire side. Dust being popped preemptively just in case they try to catch them out. They're going for Roshan. Mickey Mouse leading the way, tanking it. Yoda's hanging around. Song of the Siren is dropped. They turn around. Wolf Cunt, Mule, and Yoda caught well in position. Tombstone's been dropped. Pipe has been dropped. Visage Family is unable to accomplish all too much. Silence flies out, immediately catching out Wolf Cunt and Yoda. Omni Slash drops, killing off Visage as well as Mirana. Yoda pops Hand of God. Bit too late though. He was called out in that silence. Chaos Bolt catches out Kukapeng, but he's too far away. Zombies kill off Visage Familiar. Saladmi goes down. Tombstone is still alive. They haven't killed that Tombstone. There are 5 zombies chasing down Wolf Cunt. Zombie Apocalypse eats a Crypt Swarm to the face and goes down to a decay. Triple kill coming out from Dirge. That's the power of the Dirge Tombstones. If you do not kill them, the zombies will continue to spawn. Each of them have an additive snare, and that stacks up very quickly to do a surprising amount of damage, just because you don't expect it. And that's the power of the teamfight combination coming out. The fact that you have the Song of the Siren means that Kukapeng can always initiate with her silence the instant her ultimate wears off. So Chen is effectively useless, Wolfcon is effectively useless, as Juggernaut with other spells is just a glorified melee creep. And they take a free Roshan kill as well as 4 kills. Great plays coming out from TYK. They're in a dominating lead in game number 1 and 2 IP. They must be playing scared. They took a complete team wipe as well as giving away an Aegis. 15k gold lead in advance for them. When the 5 position Nyx Assassin has more gold, has more net worth than your 1 position carry, you know something's not quite right. Tread's been picked up by Dragon Knight. He went for a really greedy build with a Helm of the Dominator. They need to start clearing out these ancient stacks and getting gold. One of the reasons why Helm of the Dominator isn't such an effective pickup on Dragon Knight compared to someone like a Luna is you have to pop that level 2 EDF just to be the farm the ancients that you do stack. Dragon Knight's ult, it doesn't have the longest cooldowns, it's up for about 40% of the time, but when it is down, you're just a fat man in a can. You can't do all too much. You have to be in melee range to land your stun, and you don't have that AoE power coming up from your right click, so it significantly impacts your ganking as well as teamfight presence. Level 3 Dagon picked up by Nyx Assassin. He's been having a ball of a game, the Shaman and burst power coming out from him. He knows he doesn't have to build a Blink Dagger, as the Radiant team haven't been too vigilant with their sentries or with their dust, so he's been able to initiate undetected using his Vendetta to jump in, as well as the fact that you have that song coming out from Naga Siren. Valerie has been playing absolutely fantastic, picks up a Blink Dagger as well as that 4 staff, so it's that double initiation power coming out. Blink yourself in to land that song, you can force your staff yourself out. Drops the dust. Still would like to see a mechanism picked up by one of the members. Maybe Undyne can go for it. He's got 2.5k lying free. Could also choose to pick up that Vladimir's offering. No, instead he's going for the Aghanim Scepter upgrade on Undyne. It's not the greatest upgrade. It doesn't really offer you too much. It just increases all the benefits that Undyne's Flesh Golem gives you by a small amount. Not the greatest pickup. Would have liked to see something from Vladimir's building towards like a Necro Book or that mechanism, or even a Blade Mail, as Undyne is one of those heroes that gets right into the thick of it and face tanks damage by being annoying. As long as he's alive, he's able to drop that decay with that 4-second cooldown, continuously sap EHP from all of your heroes while making himself tankier. That Undying Flesh Golem makes him exert a damage amplification aura to every member who's close enough to him, as well as giving him a form of sustain, as every hero in creep kill heals him for a percentage of its HP. Grouping up for a push now. Kukapeng throws out that Crypt Swarm just to harass back any players that might have been called out in it. Riptide comes out from Valerie using his mirror images to propagate Crypt Swarm. Sentry Wall has been dropped, but it's pinged out. Exorcism's dropped. TYK is committing to this push. Kukapeng's hanging around with that Bloodstone. She knows that if she does die, she could always jump right back in. Bottom tower gets pushed down just by creep aggro. Dire side really haven't been too great at jumping in and clearing out. Moonlight Shadow's being dropped. They are missing the Mirana, who's been split pushing the top lane. She's TPing back in. They know they have to defend this. Visage Familiars killing off the mirror images. Riptide continually dropped, doing a bit more harassment damage. Did miss micro that. The image died right before the Riptide came out. Arrow flies up from Mirana, catches Pandy in the face. They could choose to initiate off the back of this, but immediately you have that Song of the Siren to catch them out of position. Counter initiate. All 5 players are called out. Tombstone drop. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Riptide, Omni Slash drop down. Immediately Cryptstorm as well as the Silence. Hand to God as well as Mecha's dropped off. Pandy's alive, but throws out the Dagon as well as the Ensnare. Pandy runs right back and he doesn't really care if he dies. He goes into pure damage coming out from the Penitence. Wolfcon pops EDF, a bit too late for him. Turns around, eats that Cryptstorm to the face from Kukar Peng. Buyback from Visage, they need to defend this. And with the Exorcism down, the Dire side wisely retreat. 2 for 1 as well as forcing on a buyback. They're more than happy to go for this. Visage is out for blood though, they're going to go in for an initiation while they can. Nyx Assassin immediately pops his Vendetta. Smoke pop by Chen, they want to go in, try to get a kill. But Nyx Assassin is hanging around to provide a bit more vision, see if he can try to get a pick off. With that Mana Bend, with that Dagon, double damage pinged out, gonna be picked up by Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse will have his ult off cooldown a little bit. Golfy actually initiates a bit too far and goes down, feeds a kill, eats a Grape Jewel, damage from Familiars as well as a Soul Assumption. Great play coming out from Visage. And Mickey Mouse most likely will be opting for something. Yeah, he's going for that Butterfly. He knows that he could go into the ultra late game. He's already got an item lead ahead. With that Desolator, with that Aghanim Scepter, he knows he's going to provide so much damage in these team fights already. One of the reasons why Juggernaut is such an effective carry is the fact that when your ultimate is up, you have a 2-3 second window while you're Omni Slashing where you're completely invulnerable, so you're not taking damage, but you're dealing a huge amount of damage to them, as well as the pick-off power coming up from him. If you catch a hero out on their own, especially if it's their enemy carry, you could kill him before the fight even starts, force it to be a 4v5, then turn around and start right-clicking people down. 2IP, great plays coming out from them. They recognize that they have the advantage right now. They go in for a turnaround. Valerie pops it, blinks in, throws out the Ensnare, catches out Yoda with that pipe, as well as one of the Exorcism Spirits hanging around. She eats an arrow to the face. It's going to cop the Penitence pure damage. Omni Slash in the meanwhile catches out Wolfcon. Valerie taking a lot of damage. Actually goes down to the Visage Familiars. Great play coming up from them. The Familiars are fed, however. Easy goes down to a Cryptstorm as well as a few more right clicks with the Spirits. Mickey Mouse is chasing down Yoda. Yoda's running for his life. He actually runs right past it. He's through it. I don't think he spotted out with the nighttime vision. And with no mana, no TP, he might be going down. Juggernaut still has the Aegis of Immortal, so he doesn't really care if he dies. He's just going to right-click down Yoda. Yoda wants to use the Force, but he doesn't have mana. No Force coming out from him. Anakin's out for blood. He's saying, "You're supposed to teach me. Come teach me." Chasing him down with a sword. With that Face Boots, with that crit. You see how much damage he's doing. He's going to 4-shot Yoda. Yoda's still running and finally goes down. Mickey Mouse on the mega kill streak. That's the power of Walt Disney coming out. Aegis of the Immortal is about to be reclaimed in 30 seconds. He didn't go down. Chaos Knight actually choosing to go for Sage, so he's going to be building into a Heaven's Halberd instead of that BKB. Would have liked to see that BKB pick up, as he's dying to the sheer amount of magical damage coming out from him, as well as the fact that when he gets ensnared by Naga Siren, he can pop BKB to ignore it. But I guess with the fact that you've got the Naga Siren song to always be worried about, you don't want to really build a BKB against that, as he'll be the only member that'll be building it at this stage in the game. So when he pops it, Naga Siren sleeps, and then it's 1v5. The Sage is a great pickup. I guess if he's able to finish his Heaven's Halberd before he loses Arax, it provides a lot more EHP to himself as well as his illusions.
The Radiant should really do
Sage actually provides
that
more HP than the Vanguard, so it's a very cost-effective pickup. Also provides a lot of damage, and that snare can be nice. Kukar Peng hanging around. He's waiting until his Exorcism goes off cooldown. Throws out that Crypt Swan. Exorcism's about to wear off. They immediately drop a Sentry Ward, knowing that the Radiant side are going to initiate with Moonlight Shadow, shutting down that initiation power. Undying almost has his Aghanim Scepter. Armlet of Medigian picked up on Dragon Knight. Not the best DPS pickup on him, as he doesn't really hit fast enough or hard enough to justify it. It's an okay damage pickup, but I would have ideally liked to see something like a Shadow Blade, like a BKB. As in this case, he's been locked down too much to really provide all too much damage. Once he hits level 16, Dragon Knight Teamfight Presents does go forward a lot faster. You see that Song into Blink combination coming out. Tombstone dropped on 2. Wolfcon and Yoda are going to be taking the fall. Silence immediately comes out. Phantasm drop. Wolfcon instantly goes down to the Omni Slash. Yoda called out the Ensnare. Valerie's just going to right-click him down. Omni Slash bounces, proc over and Visage, bring him down. Familiars drop, they're not able to accomplish all too much. Saladmi runs the hell away with his Phantasm Illusions. There isn't anything he can do against this Death Ball push. And that's a free tier 3 Rax coming out from TYK. They take a fight 3-0. That's that teamfight power coming out with the Naga Siren song to initiate, with that Tombstone coming out. TYK executing that draft perfectly. Mirana doing all she can. She knows she can't fight this with her teammates down especially, so she goes for the push, goes for a trade against the Tattoo. But in exchange, they're going to lose another lane of Rax over the top lane. This could be game for 2IP, as TYK have taken 2 Rax for free. They could even choose to go for the 3rd layer of Rax,
The Radiant side don't have any of the important ults up to fight this. They've got EDF, they have Hand of God, but they don't have that Phantasm, which is the majority of the damage. They don't have the Visage Familiars. Never mind, they do have the Visage Familiars. And TYK choosing the back off. They know they're already ahead. No need to throw away the advantage. No, actually, they're transitioning bot. They're just going to go right for the Jugular, go for the Mega Creeps. Kukar playing very cocky. His exorcism's down. He has to be careful. He runs away. He's got 18 charges on his Bloodstone. And yeah, the Dire side wisely retreat. Nyx Assassin is in full range when he pops his Vendetta, so it makes the players on the Radiant side afraid to chase them. He's going to have a level 5 Dagon flying out to him anytime soon now. He's got the gold to finish that off. Over in the top lane, we see Naga Siren clearing out the creep wave, using a Riptide Walls or Mirror Images. With 2.6k, I will assume she'll be going towards something like a Sage, towards Heaven's Hellburst. It's a great way for her to lock down the Chaos Knight, provide a bit more survivability. With that Blink Dagger as well as that Force Staff, she's been the undisputed MVP of this game, initiating these fights, making sure that they always win the fights before they even begin by dropping the Tombstones, by dropping the Silence on Chen as well as Juggernaut, completely removing them from the fight, as well as that 2-man Impel coming up from Nyx Assassin. They're able to start these fights with 2 heroes down the Radiant side, even 3 with that Juggernaut Omni Slash instantly killing them. Nyx Assassin finally picks up his Blink Dagger. He wants in the Blink in action, so he has that form of initiation power. Dire side just going to patiently wait for Roshan to respawn in about a minute. Harder Tarask picked up by Death Prophet. She doesn't need no Yule Scepter. With the BKB, with the Bloodstone, with 18 charges, as well as the Harder Tarask, she's actually invincible at this point. She could probably face tank the entire Radiant team. And double damage up on the Juggernaut. You have to keep in mind that Bladespin will actually purge it off him. And during Omni Slash, the double damage attacks will only happen during every other attack during the Omni Slash. It has the 12 scripted attacks coming out from the Aghanim Scepter, and in between those scripted slashes, based on your attack speed, you'll get a few extra hits in. So right now with his attack speed, he's probably going to get about 15 to 17 Omni Slashes, as you've got the 12 inbuilt in from the Aghanim Scepter, and the 5 extra he'll get in. With that Butterfly picked up, he'll actually get a lot more slashes in, as his attack will go down to about 0.6 per second instead of 0.8, which it is right now. Butterfly is a great pickup on Juggernauts, just because it gives him the evasion, so while he's in Bladespin, he's actually completely invulnerable to most forms of damage. Provides him attack speed so he can get more hits in during his ultimate, and helps him go toe-to-toe against other carries, especially as he relies on having an item lead in order to out-carry traditional hard carries like the Anti-Mage or the Spectre, or the Faceless Void. We got Courier flying in with an item. Just his staff coming in, so Juggernaut's picked up his Butterfly. He's now completely stacked. There we go, 0.67 seconds per attack. So when he throws out his Omni Slash, whoever is in their way will be dropping down. Bit of talk coming out from Yoda. And with the Exorcism of Spirits, Radiant side really can't defend against it. Valerie jumps in with the Force Staff as well as the Blink Dagger, catches out 3. Flesh Golem, Tombstone drop. Mule and Yoda are going to immediately take a fall. Nyx Assassin blinks in. Omni Slash flies out, kills those 2 instantly, bounces off to Wolfcut. Wolfcut immediately regrets his decision, even though he's in EDF form. Nyx Assassin goes down to the Phantasm Reality Rift attack coming out from him. Healing Ward hanging around the background, healing up Mickey Mouse while he goes toe-to-toe with Salami. Somebody please kill that Healing Ward. That's the power of the Healing Ward. Somebody please right-click it. It's keeping Mickey Mouse alive. Why are you hitting the Healing Ward? He finally takes a fall to Soul Assumption. Arrow flies out, misses everybody. Visage brought back, but might take another fall. Never mind, just a Riptide. Megas are up, and they call GG 38 minutes and 35 seconds into the game. TYK take a commanding game 1, 15 to 38. Just going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then load in for game number 2. Stay tuned, thanks for watching. Wally and I will be right back.